Look who's back. It's Weather for Weather Geeks time on this Monday evening after some time off. I've had the last 4 days off, a nice little break after working like a maniac for parts of the last couple of weeks. You know, it's summertime, vacation schedules, things like that, and I've been kind of all over the place with what time of day I'm working and with some pretty busy weather at times as well. But it's nice to kind of unwind for a few days. We're back at it on this Monday evening, and we've got plenty to talk about this week, even though we missed out on severe weather today. That's always a good thing. It was an interesting day from a meteorological perspective. This was a high-end severe weather day in early August, not exactly the time of the year that you think of a lot of severe weather, especially in the mid-Atlantic region of the U.S. Once we get into the heart of summer, the severe weather risks tend to decrease quite dramatically once we get into late July and especially into August. And, you know, we don't talk about the jet stream often at this time of the year, but we had a pretty potent August jet stream across the lower 48 today with a screaming jet like this, and this setup favors a lot of uplift in the atmosphere, kind of in this zone especially. And we saw that come to fruition today with a lot of severe weather. And still, as of this recording at 7:09, we've got some severe weather watches still out, severe thunderstorm watches, tornado watches from the Hudson Valley down through New York, Washington, Baltimore, down into Raleigh as well. These watch boxes covered a lot more real estate a couple of hours ago, but they've been chopping away at the watch boxes as the line of storms has progressed off to the east. It's also not often you see a moderate level 4 severe weather risk at this time of the year in this part of the country. Now, again, in a lot of this moderate risk, the severe weather threat is ended. But big moderate risk issued earlier on today from West Virginia through parts of Virginia and Maryland, Washington, D.C., parts of Pennsylvania as well. All of this was going to stay off to our south and east. Now, we've had some downpours, of course, but this was never in the cards. It was never in the cards, I should say, for this to be a big severe weather day around here, with the ingredients definitely more favorable to our south and east. But we have had some downpours, and some radar estimates here bear that out. An inch or two locally across the area today. Especially the 224 corridor did particularly well with showers and storms earlier on. As of 7:10, things are winding down, the last of the showers and storms. Heading off to our south and east, there might be a sprinkle or a quick shower from here on out tonight, but otherwise definitely a drying trend, both in terms of precipitation and in terms of the overall air mass, the moisture content in the air. The dew points, in other words, are going to be dropping. Check out the 7 p.m. dew points, the difference between local dew points in the middle and upper 60s to around 70 to 57 in Detroit, and that's that drier air that's going to be punching in from the north. Over the next 12 hours, you'll really notice the change coming our way on Tuesday. All right, since we didn't do Weather Geeks late last week, we didn't get to talk about the update to the drought monitor on Thursday, and for the first time in several weeks, none of our TV viewing area currently designated as in a moderate drought. We still have some areas that are classified as abnormally dry, but no one's in a drought anymore. And I kind of suspect that, you know, you could probably wipe out the abnormally dry designation as well in most of our region. I think for most of us, we're no longer thinking at all about dryness in our yards and in our fields and things like that. Some areas have had more rain than others for sure, but even in some of our drier areas over the last couple of months, we've seen more plentiful precipitation of late. So yeah, the lack of rain, the dryness, no longer really top of mind at all for most of our area. Boy, beautiful day coming up on Tuesday. You're going to notice the breeze kicking up. You're going to notice sunshine. You're going to notice the lower humidity. Hard to ask for a nicer August day. On Tuesday, partly to at times mostly sunny, and temperatures making their way into the upper 70s to around 80. Actually, we're going to make it 2 nice days in a row, Tuesday and into Wednesday. Some of the modeling suggests that this weak little disturbance comes through Tuesday night and might spark a shower. We're going to leave the forecast dry for now. I do think Wednesday is going to be a beautiful day, mostly sunny. This warm front pushes in, ushers in the higher dew point area again by Wednesday night and into Thursday, and with that, no surprise, pretty good chance of showers and storms into the day on Thursday with this cold front moving through. Good news for the upcoming weekend, though. You know, we don't have many summer weekends left at this point, especially if you're a teacher or student or you have kids in school. You know, summer's kind of winding down as we get into the second and third weeks of August. And so when we can have a pretty nice weekend at this time of the year, that's always a nice thing because, you know, fall is knocking on the door. And yeah, these showers and storms on Thursday, mostly out of here for Friday and the weekend. So the dew points come back up Wednesday night into Thursday. Now, it's not going to be a big refreshing change in terms of the dew points by Friday and the weekend, but it'll be a little lower, it'll be a little more comfortable. There might be a shower here and there, maybe a thunderstorm later Friday night, maybe into Saturday morning. Probably going to dry things out Saturday afternoon and Sunday. So, yeah, I think most of Friday, most of the weekend will be pretty nice. Before we leave you this evening, let's have a little fun with the longer range. On the 5th day of every month, we get an update from the European Center. We sometimes talk about the European model, short, medium range, the European weeklies, more of a medium to long range suite of modeling. Well, these are the European seasonal outlooks that are issued around the 5th of every month, and they are just that. They're seasonal outlooks. You can look at 1 month chunks, 3 month chunks, and even though today is August the 7th, we're still in the heart of summer, we're going to start looking a little bit next winter, and meteorological winter, of course, December, January, February. And here's what the latest run of the European seasonal has for temperature anomalies for the 3-month period, December, January, and February, I should say. Now, long-range modeling, particularly this suite of modeling, has a hard time seeing cold in the longer range. You hardly ever see any blue on these maps when you look at months 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and things like that. So, that being said, you could kind of interpret the way this looks as maybe there'd be some blue down here in the heart of this white kind of neutral zone. Basically, what we're looking at is the model seeing a pretty classic El Nino signature to temperatures for the upcoming winter. This map has a very El Nino vibe to it, with the jet stream being pushed to the north and allowing for a pretty warm winter in Canada, and then the subtropical jet perhaps bringing frequent precipitation chances to the deep south, Gulf Coast region, Carolinas, places like that, and that might keep a lid on their temperatures a little bit for the winter season, and then we'd be somewhere in between. A lot of times in El Nino, for us, it really depends on the strength of El Nino. We are expecting a pretty strong El Nino that may peak in strength around October, November, with some weakening of that El Nino as winter wears on. But how strong it becomes will really go a long way to determining our winter. A really strong El Nino really strongly tilts the odds in favor of it being a pretty warm winter around here. But if it's not real strong, that opens the door to all sorts of solutions. We've had weak to moderate El Ninos that are big, snowy, cold winters. We've had weak to moderate El Ninos that are not so snowy and not so cold. We don't just look at El Nino, La Nina, of course, when we make a winter forecast, but it is one of the main drivers, particularly if El Nino or La Nina is strong. Then it really kind of takes the wheel and elbows out a lot of the other players in the atmosphere. So, got a lot of time to figure this stuff out, but it's kind of interesting to look at some of this long-range modeling at this lead time. That European modeling would suggest that with a pretty stout El Nino, we might have a pretty classic moderate to strong El Nino signature in terms of temperatures during the upcoming winter. That'll do it for me tonight on Weather for Weather Geeks. Let's do it again on Tuesday with an update on the rest of the week forecast and the weekend as well. I'll see you then.